Are you Mandalorian?
I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy, like my father before me.
3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast. Matthew, Dylan, Callan.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 47 of the 3 Men and a Baby Yoda podcast. What a finish on Ferrix. Andor 1 to 12. What a show. It was bloody good. Catherine Kneen is the only person living in 2022 while we're all stuck in 1977. And joining me tonight are my two good buddies, Callan Gardner. How are you, mate?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. It's good to be back into entitled Star Wars and just wanting more already. It was a ripper of the last episode, and I'm really keen to start cracking into it. And even my kids are starting to slowly get the toes in. Little 5-year-old dipping the toe into Star Wars and talking stormtroopers, and it's good feelings all around.
Excellent, mate. Excellent, mate. Good to be here. And Dylan, great to see you, buddy. We've got a full ensemble and a special guest. But how are you, Dill?
Good, mate. Good. I'm salivating. I want more. Give me more Andor.
2 more years to wait, mate. You'll just have to fill your feed with some Mandalorian and some Ahsoka and Tales of the Jedi and Bad Batch and I can just see our fourth guest just licking his lips at the delicious treats that are to come from the future. And we're in for a real positive chat tonight. This is a rare fairy dust moment for Kathleen Kennedy, Mr. Matthew Frost. How are you, buddy?
Good evening, fellas. Thanks for having me. B+. Not bad.
And so it begins.
Good to see you, Matt. What's been happening in your world?
Not much. I'm just looking at the monitor, and I look like one of the Doobie Brothers is about to get abducted by an alien.
No, actually, it looks like you're wearing a hat.
It looks like you're ready for the new Weird Al movie, mate.
We've just set our couch up a bit different, and it means the kids can get behind it. And the kids have been playing salon, so the kids been brushing my hair, so that's why I kind of look a bit
odd.
Yeah, to be honest.
Oddly manicured.
You genuinely look like Mrs. Doubtfire right now.
Yes, serious. Apart from the beard, you're probably not far wrong.
What a good start. What a good start. Once a secret is known, it cannot be unknown.
So, but apart from that, everything's going pretty well. We've a bit of wild weather down here, a bit of Sydney weather down here in Adelaide at the moment. And apart from that, I've just been really enjoying this so-called Star Wars television. So
it's been an interesting 10 weeks, hasn't it, mate? Like, I remember we had you on and we had to sort of skirt around the one episode you've seen. So we just chatted about that. And then, and then you and I have been texting and it's funny because the texts have just been so good. It's like, fuck, that was pretty good. And then it's like, it's not going to be, it can't be any better next week. They're going to fuck it up. Next week, even better than last week. Fuck, still going, and like it just we had to make up stuff to make fun about because we had nothing but good things to say.
There's if you can't make fun of the show, you can always make fun of people liking the show. That's the best thing.
That seems to be the norm at the moment. Actually, I sent this thing to Brinkat today because. We got Star Wars fans that are huge Star Wars fans, but they're just not getting into it, or they're watching it with their phone in their hand, so they're not paying attention. I'm like, oh, what do you think of the heist? He's like, oh, is that what happened? He's like, I'm like, well, did you watch this bit here? He's like, oh, I must have missed that. I was on my phone. I'm like, this is definitely a show where you can't be on your phone.
No way.
Anyways, I sent him this. He's like, he's up to episode 7 now, but it's this meme I sent through today, and it's like, all these people happily watching Andor, and there's this one person going, he's going to die anyway, right? And then they keep watching it, and it's like, there's no cameos from the Jedi. It doesn't even feel like real Star Wars. People keep watching it. And then the third one is him just going absolutely ape shit, going, quit having fun, while all these people watch Andor. Like, but
I'm so totally that guy normally. Like, I was the guy that took a year to get into Nirvana. Like, everyone's like, oh, Nirvana are amazing. I'm just like, all right. So I'm normally that jerk sort of sitting there going, oh yeah, no, I'll catch it later. But not the case this time, got to say.
Do you do it out of spite?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Spite is a good weapon. It's a good weapon.
Yeah. I remember seeing somebody saying you absolutely have to watch Game of Thrones. And as soon as I said
I was going to say Game of Thrones.
Never going to watch it. Like, just to annoy you.
I managed to do that for about 3 years, and then it was around the Joffrey wedding that it was just the height of the internet, and I was just like, maybe I am missing out on this, because I was saving it for I want to binge, and then I had 3.5 years of worth to binge, and then after that I was hooked, and you're missing out, Frosty.
I was the same with Breaking Bad. Big time. I'm like, it can't be that good. It's just
actually, I was the same too. I was like, I'm not going to glorify ice smoking and all that stuff. I can't. And then I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Actually,
my name is Gustavo Fried.
Yeah, I have never seen Breaking Bad either.
It's good.
I've only seen half of it. I've never seen all of it. Yeah.
What's your favorite show, Frosty? Then is it the Flying Doctors or?
Oh, there's a blast from the past. Victor Charlie, Mike Sierra Foxtrot. I remember their call signs.
Top 3 shows of all time, other than
best
Andor.
television show I've ever seen. Chernobyl. I think that's the best television show I've ever seen.
There's a lot of Chernobyl in Andor,
There's an awful lot. Sure. Apart from that, I really like. What's a good one? There was just recent ones I watched I really like. Castle Rock. That was very good. The first season anyway. I don't know. I like lots of telly, but I don't like things that go on for season after season. I'm a one and done or two and done sort of.
Well, Andor's going to suit your niche. It's right into your wheelhouse. This is only one more season to go.
Definitely. Yeah,
and we'll have a chat about that, because I'm a little worried about, this was paced so well, then they're going to cram 4 years into the next season. But we'll get into that later. But Cal, you're looking good, buddy. It's good to see you, and you got a very nice setup. It looks like you've got some sort of computer with a blue tinge or a new fish tank.
Fish tank. No, that's the computer with those lights, fancy lights.
Very fancy,
mate. I've never seen it before. It's just on. Yeah. Well, I'm in my garage, so it's all lights are off, but if I turn it on, there's all my shit behind me, so it doesn't look as fancy. So.
But you've moved into a new house, and you've got your own little space, and you're not podcasting from the kitchen.
I'm not podcasting from under the stairs anymore, like a little Harry Potter kid.
Harry Potter's leftovers.
Yeah. So no, good internet, good setup. I think we're a month in now into the new house, so it's been pretty sweet.
Cal, the setup looks great, but if this was a horror movie, you're the first person getting dragged off in the dark.
You're getting snapped by your garage door or something.
Yeah, 100%.
Michael Myers is sitting behind somewhere there.
You just see the mask come out.
I'm going to have to go turn the light on now.
That's all right. Yeah, I'm going to die too, but I'm just going to get eaten by a mosquito. Death by mosquitoes in here. I think I left the door open earlier, so there's about 1,000 in here. I can feel myself slowly getting eaten alive. Dill, how about you, mate? How's your place, and how's your Star Wars viewing going?
Very good. As you may be able to see, my bench has been built with my father last weekend. Got a new clock.
Very fancy.
No Star Wars on the walls yet, mate.
You know what? I said to myself, I've got to start, decorating the place, because it's mostly just furniture at the moment. So I put the idea. I'm like, because my mum and I have very similar tastes in design. I say to mum, I'm like, I'm thinking of putting up a few posters and stuff around my little setup and stuff. She said, if you do that, I'll disown you.
What? What?
She's always been the kind of person who's like, do not fucking ruin your room or, the house with pop stuff. It's always just got to be clean because if you invite people over, X, Y, Z.
And you look at Matt's setup, there's 15
I was just about to
posters.
say, I was like, Mum, I don't want to alarm you, but I've got a very close friend who does exactly the opposite of what you are. We tend to like.
She's not my mum.
But no, good, man. In terms of my Star Wars viewing, I'm just, enjoying Andor. I've been watching it with my partner, so it's been if we don't get to watch it on a Wednesday, it's a Friday or a Saturday night with a couple of drinks and, really just settle in and enjoy it. Tales of the Jedi we probably won't go over that, but that was phenomenal. I binged it in one sitting. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Well,
I've still only seen 2.
We'll save Tales of the Jedi for the end. We might I'm sure Frosty will be dying to let off some steam on something. But let's go into Andor because Frosty, tell me about we'll talk about the first. It was set up in arcs. It was almost like 4 movies in one season worth of stuff, and episodes 1 to 3. Now that I've had a chance to go back and watch it again, and obviously they were like, oh, it's a slow burn, and it took its time. But going back and watching it again, knowing the names and sort of recognizing things, and not having that hype of taking it all in for the first time, I was actually watching it in a relaxed manner, and I was loving it because I forgot that the B2 emo got pissed on in the first minute of the show.
By the little rancor dog.
Oh, yeah.
I missed that the first time. I was too busy going, Andor. And I was like, oh, he got pissed on. That's funny. But no, it was good because it set up, Ferrix, this whole world of Ferrix and bricks and whatever, that we were obviously in the end going to end up on and setting up that world building and, even stuff like, just the dialogue around the corporate security and everything. It really set up that stage and it needed to sort of build that world so that you could sort of move on to the next stuff. I mean, Maddie, you watched them all pretty side by side because you weren't watching week to week, were you?
Not at first, not for those first 3, because they came out together, didn't they?
Well, when we chatted, we were up to episode 6, and you were on episode 1, so you had the luxury of a good binge.
But we didn't do it that way. We did because we're watching with my wife, after the kids go to bed. We did watch them all one at a time. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting what you say about that it's a slow burn to some people. I think if you look back on it, and I felt so at the time, I thought it was pretty efficient, actually. There's a lot of wasted stuff in there. There's everything ties into the plot.
Did you say there's not a lot of waste? There's not a lot of waste.
There's not a lot of waste.
I 100% agree.
I get that people have it things are paced in different ways, and certain eras of movies are paced in different ways and stuff like that. But I didn't really get the slow burn thing because I thought it was really efficient. It didn't really detour off into anywhere, so everything was pretty much in part of the bones of the plot.
I think part of the reason for that, though, is just every character was so average Joe, but they were so captivating. Every time there was someone on screen, I just wanted to know more about them. It wasn't this person's a side character, don't really care. It's every single time that someone was on screen, there was a story being developed, characters being built, and a world being built. It was awesome.
No, I mean, there was so much. Oh, you go, Matty.
Sorry, the only plot thread that doesn't really tie into too much at this stage was him looking for his sister. But you're dead right about the characters. The best thing you can do in television, long form television, long form storytelling, is make people care about the characters, whether you like them or not. There's some fairly unlikable characters in the whole thing, but you actually got to see what makes them tick. Like they don't have simplistic reasons for doing what they're doing. Like you believe it, basically. 100%. So, and from all the baddies are like that. You believe you know why everyone's doing something. That's pretty good television.
I'm still not a fan of Syril. He's single fucking worst character. He's so awkward. It makes me awkward watching him. That's the point of it, right? But I'm just like, fuck, stop looking at me, dude. It's like, gets me every time.
He's like the teacher's pet.
Oh, it's so funny.
He's just got such a punchable face.
Right. So good. It reminds me of that. Did you guys watch the Captain America TV show? Like they had another Captain America, like some dude came in and was the new Captain America. And
yeah.
I love that guy. Yeah.
He reminds me of Pee Wee Herman.
If he was a fascist.
Pee Wee Herman joins the Empire.
Yeah.
He's a still. I'm interested where that's going to go later on, but he's just a creepy dude.
Well, early on they were saying Syril Khan is Gabe from The Office, all grown up. Space Gabe.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it was good in that it set up the Ferrix world. You got the Canary origin, which was very apocalypto-like, and it set the scene. And like you said, Dylan, many times, like they needed to have those 3 episodes released at once because you sort of 1 and 2 were sort of dense and deep, and then the third one you got sort of the payoff from the action of the heist that some people need. But it's funny, like in America they've released this on all these ABC and Hulu, all these other channels, and they've only released 2 episodes.
Do you reckon that's because it hasn't been doing that well on Disney Plus?
I don't know. I think they're just trying to share.
Tell me whenever an episode gets released, the first thing I do usually is go on Disney Plus and look for it in the headers.
Yeah.
Very rarely is it coming up top of Disney Plus. You sort of had to go looking for it.
Yeah, I found that.
I wonder. That'd be a good one to find out how well it actually did. Because it's an absolute banger.
It's not the most watched Star Wars show ever. But I think also because of all the contracts and everything that everyone's been signed to, and it's said, they're all tied to a streaming network and royalties and payments and whatever. They can only do a certain amount on free-to-air TV or whatever. So as not to breach contract, I don't know, but that's the general gist of things. But I think they're trying to get it out there as well to spread the word because people get people hooked and then onto Disney Plus. I don't know. Bobby I's just come back to Disney. He's now in charge again. So I'm not sure what happened there, but it was a good start. Took me a while to watch the first 3 as well. I watched it over a weekend, I think.
Going through the comments on like the whole mini arcs that we have discussed many a time, I found myself towards the back end of the series. It wasn't really in those 3 episode arcs. Like I was sort of watching and I was like, okay, we're building up to this 9th episode, but it seemed like episode 10 was the big hit for that arc.
3, 4, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that caught me off guard.
It was 9.
Perhaps they just averaged it out.
That's his favourite soccer formation.
Yeah.
3, 4,
we decided to go to 3-3-4-2 at the end. Yeah.
No, it was a 3-3-1-3-2 because there was a breather in episode 7.
Oh yes,
yeah, but that was just tucked in behind the other midfielders. It wasn't like
that was a central defensive midfielder, just setting up Andor for the big goal,
sweeping mid.
Yeah,
but I mean, where the show really sort of picked up its momentum was, the Aldhani heist. We move on to the planet of Aldhani, which for the first 4 and 5, I remember one of the episodes was titled tree the axe forget the tree forgets
the axe forgets,
but the tree remembers. That's right. And I remember one day I had a fight with my wife, and I actually said I said oh, the axe forgets but the tree remembers. She goes, what the fuck does that mean? I go, I don't know. I just like it.
I can so picture you like Andrea's fucking fuming, and you're just like,
I'm just throwing out fucking Andor gold, and she's just going straight over her head.
You're like what's his name, Jules from Pulp Fiction. I just sort of some cold-blooded shit to say before I ice someone.
But the thing is, it just would have landed him in more hot water, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me. I was very lucky to get on the podcast, and I was boasting to Frosty. Like, everything's going well, kids going nicely, wife's happy, and then I said something stupid just at about 9:12, and she's like, "You better watch it, or you're not podcasting." I'm like, "Don't take away the stuff I love."
It's all I have.
I was on a nice edge.
But the
tree remembers. I'm gonna write a manifesto about this. This is tyranny at its number one form.
Get your boot off my throat.
But yeah, Cal, tell me the heist episodes. What were your favorite bits? Like
this episode 6. That was probably one of my favorite episodes I've seen in a long time, like Star Wars wise. It's sort of just like,
up until that point.
Yeah, up to everything. Like, I've loved the whole season, but that was a absolute. I loved how they walked in. Nothing was over the top. How they trained for it, all that sort of shit, and it was really well done. And I loved that the Empire were just made out to be smug assholes. And it was made, and that's what we all, but you just saw it. And these guys are just like walking under their fucking nose. And there's a bunch of them just didn't give, like, they just thought they were too fucking good. And that's what I thought was sick. I was devastated. Namek is it Namek? Yeah. He got nailed.
Crushed by the coins.
Yeah, that was devastating. Because I thought he was an interesting character.
He was an odd chap.
And he's then the little manifesto thing he handed over. I'll be interested to hear the theories on that later. But yeah, I love that. Was my favorite episode up until sort of that last couple.
That was the top one of the first 6. But
yeah,
it just.
As soon as I saw him writing in that little book, I'm like, oh well, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's one of the few times in the show, and that I've got to say, the whole show, like, I didn't really know where any of it was going, and every other Star Wars show is just so obvious where it's heading for me. I was just like, I don't know where this show's going, but I must admit, when I saw him in that book, I was like, oh no. It's not going to work out for you, buddy.
Well, on the second viewing of that, it's funny. Like, remember that episode where he's like, "Oh, I'm having trouble sleeping," and then Cassian says to him, "Oh, what does he say? He goes, oh, don't worry, you'll sleep well after the job's done." I was like, "Oh no, it's horrible." So that was a real.
He goes into the forever box.
But I mean, there's a good theory today. I mean, have a look here. This photo I'm going to show you on the camera. This is Cassian Andor in Rogue One, right?
Is that the manifesto
Is that the manifesto on his shoulder pad? And it's not.
Sure.
It
has a very inconvenient spot to put something.
Yes, I know. He's
attached it to my top chest.
He's an audio book
Most
I
important
carry
manifesto
around on my shoulder.
Yeah. It's got all the secrets. Everyone, just check it. It's right fucking here.
He goes door knocking. Would you like to hear about the manifesto?
Would you like to hear Lord Namek Christ?
Lord Namek will return. Rise after 3 days.
Somehow Namek returned. That's yes, but no.
Yeah,
I mean, the visualization on episode 6. I remember watching it for the first time and just the tension and everything of the whole episode. I felt like I didn't take a breath the whole episode, and it was just on the edge of my seat, like this seat forward, just at the TV, and then I was exhausted by the end of a television show for some reason, and it was just gripping. And then that asteroid field exited.
That was cool.
I've never seen something cooler on a show than flying through the eye in that asteroid belt. That was phenomenal. It was amazing.
Did you see Fonzie jump the great white shark in Happy Days?
I did not.
Apart from that,
I'm surprised Dylan even knows that reference. That's so far beyond his tongue.
The Fonz, mate.
The Fonz, yes.
I tell you what, that tension, you don't get that unless it's done in a 3-episode arc. Like that middle episode 5, so good because they're just out there in the wild, roughing it, practicing their things and seeing when the TIE fighter patrols came over, and instead of them being brave or anything like that, they're shit scared. It's good. It's really, these aren't your superpowered heroes and stuff like that. They've got a really finely balanced job to do. They're training hard to do it, but they could get made at any stage. So
that's what it felt like. They could literally get made at any stage. They weren't. They didn't have control.
Yep.
And that's what I really like. It always looked like they were fucking cooked. Like something was it was.
It felt risky.
Yeah.
You know what else works for the show really well is they're not scared to build up a character to let them go like that.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh, I got hit by a blaster shot and look, I'm fine. It's they get hit by a blaster shot, they're dead. Instantly. It's just see you later. There's no.
There's a few of those in the last episode.
Oh, mate.
They're not afraid to make it brutal too. So there's no sort of go on without me or somebody gets some hackneyed final Filoni words to spit out or anything like that. May the force be with you or whatever. No, it's just brutal.
Robot tummies on T-Pain scissor hands to the rescue.
No Wookiees getting shot by 50,000 blasters and eating a bit of fruit at the end of the episode. Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm not going back to Book of Boba Fett anytime soon. Although I am keen for the Mando episode and the Luke Skywalker episodes, but the others they're not high on the rewatch list. Whereas Andor, I could definitely watch. You need a lot of time though as well, but it's definitely got rewatch factor as well.
Because it's that thing because you know where it goes. There's none of this shit. There's going to be another season, but Andor in Rogue One fucking dies, and he kicks the shit out of it. So it's like,
hold on, let's not. How do you know he's dead?
Come on. Like Star Wars, who fucking knows? But that's the reason I love that. We know the end, and now we're just coming filling in the gaps. It's pretty cool.
Well, I mean,
the good thing too, about a show like this is you can actually rewatch it and just delight in the performances and the dialogue. We were talking about some of the better performances and moments as far as the acting and stuff like that. You can't do that with some of the other stuff. The more you rewatch it, it'll seem a little bit more cringy.
Yes.
Yeah. So with a show like this,
go on. Sorry.
Yeah, with a show like this, that's not the case. You can go back and go, oh, how good was that? What,
you can't watch a lightsaber be thrown over your shoulder and then just walk away.
Don't be shitting on The Last Jedi. I'm actually that's the one movie I'm sort of keen to revisit at the moment.
Liked it. It's just that pisses me off. That's the only one. I've got the word tension in my notes. Tension through this whole season was just always on point.
Yeah.
And that's thanks to the writing. It's such quality writing. And I mean, we're going to go through, the episode 7 was a nice little breather episode, your little post heist cool down, take a trip to space Mykonos or.
How much cash do they get?
$80 million or credits.
Space Mykonos is fucking perfect. It makes me laugh every time they go there. And they robbed the two fucking people shagging when he took his box back. That fucking made me laugh so much.
Was that two people shag? I thought that was just one guy having a snooze.
No, it was like
he was fucking
alien things, bro.
Yeah,
Just,
he had an alien prostitute. He was going to town.
Oh,
Well, I would have had it the night before. I'm assuming. I'm making an assumption.
Was that? No, I thought he snuck into the room, and so
yeah.
Rewatch it. You'll see there's two aliens banging.
Yeah, there's like two weird alien things. Like,
they were. I assume they were banging.
I thought that was just one weird elephant dude sort of thing. All right, I need to revisit that one.
That's going to go frame by frame in the episode. This
This is some Andor After Dark.
I just averted my eyes.
But it was interesting, like, you know, after the Aldhani, sort of the ISB sort of just went into overdrive and you know, the world just became chaos because of what he did. And funnily enough, he ends up being the victim, and this is a growing trend for him, unfortunately, a victim of his own, you know, demise and work, you know, 6 years in prison for just walking on the street. But, you know, and this is definitely a turn I didn't see coming. I never thought he was going to be going into some sort of prison based on what we saw in the trailers. I mean, we saw in the trailers that sort of running scene at the end, but, you know, the whole prison arc, which was just, you know, really the calm before the storm in the end, but it was just a huge crescendo of just awesome. I mean, and once you got past, Andy Serkis is in it, and wasn't he in, you know, The Force Awakens as Snoke, and he's just in as Andy Serkis, the actor as Keno Loy. Fuck, he just stole the show for the whole thing. Like, it was phenomenal. I mean, Frosty, give us your Brownlow votes to Serkis. Serkis, 3 votes.
3 votes. Yeah, he probably got, out of the 3 episodes, was he in, or was he in 4 in the end?
No, 3, 7,
3.
8, 9.
So he probably got 7 or 8 votes for those three matches, which is a fair run, isn't it? Yeah. So, look, he's a very underrated actor. Like, you know, he does his motion capture thing, but he's you know, sort of pioneered and lifted that to another level, like throughout the industry, sort of thing. But it's great to see him perform. It's great to see him get such a great character to work with.
Yeah,
I think the last thing I saw him in was, I think he was in Black Panther as a pretty one-dimensional villain.
Also one-armed in the end.
Yeah, okay. I tell you what, like, as said, it's pretty simple format. You make people, you show a bit of development. You make the audience care about a handful of people in a situation like that, and then when you get to the payoff, and the payoff was I can't swim. You know, that was more like that had more meaning behind it than, you know, just about anything in any other television series, Star Wars television series so far. Like, you know,
what was the text you sent me, Frosty, about I can't swim? Do you remember what it said?
I can't swim is better than anything Filoni's ever written.
Correct. I'm just looking.
Do you reckon we'll see him again?
He'll be back. He will be back. So Tony Gilroy said he didn't die, but
said you didn't see him die. I don't think you need to bring him back.
He'll be captured by the ISB. He'll be in some way or form.
What if he escaped by sending up Snoke signals?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Did you just make a smoke signals and Snoke signals?
He did.
Matt.
It came up on my
low.
It came up on my tweets today, all right?
Mate.
Because people were like, he's not dead, don't kill him. And then someone wrote, he survived, he sent off Snoke signals. So,
oh my God.
That was pretty funny.
Well, what fits for the show? What fits for the show is he's dead. Like
I agree.
That fits the tone of the show. And I'd sort of be not cheated, but it'll be a little miffed if they do anything else, because it's not the point. You don't have to have like some of these characters like Nemec and stuff like that. They
play their part.
Yeah, and one of the whole thing about this show that I've really admired above anything else on a theme wise is the thing about a revolution, the thing about any social change, about anybody who picks up arms against anything or starts a war or whatever, is, are you willing to make things worse
to make them better?
To make them better, because that's what every conflict has to face. Like, are you willing to do what needs to be done, which is make things a whole lot worse to make them better? And you tell me a show that gets down in the mud with that concept more than this.
Yeah, you're right.
And because the theme constantly comes around, like Cassian, like he started that, you know, because he was looking for his sister, and then he killed those security people, and it came back around. And then, like, you know, he stole, he was part of the raid, steal Aldhani, and it came back around. Everything comes back around, like, and every time it comes back around, the stakes get higher, more people die, like the cost is greater. But is it the right path? And then when you hear Luthen talk, and everything Luthen says in that speech supports all of that.
Yeah.
So, like, Tell me how any other Star Wars show has been that cohesive with its themes. Like,
all the way through.
Yeah.
It's in the show all the way through.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely got the words, you know, the jigsaw puzzle is definitely, the Rubik's Cube has been put together nicely. And yeah, like you said, I mean, everything came around, like, you know, the sister, and then he stole that Imperial thing from Steerguard. That came around with the ISB, and just, you know, he kept making bigger and bigger mistakes and paying the price. But, you know, that speech from Kino Loy, you know.
I've been texted this speech multiple times in the past couple of weeks, and even if it's coming from your text, Matt, his voice is in the back of my head, and it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah,
he like, it was so well written. Obviously, I mean, whoever thought of it to put that on dialogue, and then the delivery by Serkis was just, you know, he started off nervous, and then he really just built momentum, and then, you know, it was just, I get the goosebumps just, and the music as well. Like the music in the last, I mean, there wasn't much music needed early on, and then just, you know, they just kept finishing stronger and stronger. Like, we'll move on. I mean, this was, I thought,
before we move on, sorry, I had a thought, I don't know who I was looking at, that said this. If you pay attention to Cassian throughout the series, he's not afraid to let others take credit for his work. If you really think about it. So with, for example, Kino, right? So Cassian's really amped Kino up to do, you know, to deliver this speech and deliver it well, because he knows that, you know, it's Kino's going to be the one to rally the troops, essentially. But pay attention to the way Cassian looks at him, and it's almost like, you know, this keep going, like, this is what I wanted you to do. It's working. Now, because we've done this, we progress to the next stage, sort of thing. And he tends to do that throughout the series. When I heard that, I also thought that's so similar to the way Luthen operates, because, you know, he's willing to lose people, step on people, and push people to get to the end of his own agenda. So, you know, Cassian and Luthen are very much two in the same, in my eyes.
Manipulate people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But without any hesitation. It's just instinct and act.
So
it's for the greater good, you know?
The flip side of Luthen and Cassian is that Luthen knows he's got an ego. He actually mentions that in his speech.
Yep.
Whereas Cassian, the one thing he's unburdened by his ego. Like, you know, and I think, yeah, that's it. And that follows through into his character into Rogue One as well, which is, one of the really getting off topic here, and not off topic, but it's jumping around a bit. That finale where Luthen learns to be more, he learns something from Maarva's speech and from Cassian to pull back on, his ruthlessness.
Yep.
And at the same time, Mon Mothma learns to be more ruthless. Right. So
good point.
They're sort of heading in. They're tracking at the end of the setting up for season 2. Those two are tracking in different directions than they were at the start of the show. So sorry, that's jumping around a bit, but
that's great. It's a fucking great observation, actually. Like, they definitely. I mean, another thing you see, Cassian's character changes enormously from episode 1. Like, these are the little bits that I didn't pick up on the first time. Like, you obviously saw he's a bit of a con man, fuck people over, borrowing money, unreliable. But there were comments from the mum as well about he was a real womanizer. I didn't pick that up the first time. Like,
really?
When they're arguing about who. When the sort of APB comes out about him, a male from Canary, is wanted for questioning. She makes a comment going, "Oh, who have you told? I bet you it was all these women. It was this one, this one, this one, this one." He's obviously a bit of a slimy, sleazy character back then. And then,
or he's just hot.
Yeah. Or did you go to Space Mykonos? Who's hanging out there?
True. So, but by the end of it, he was like, there's a comment or something like saying, you look out for yourself. And he makes a comment saying, "Oh, we're way past that now. I'm looking out for others." And that was the moment, sort of like, I'm no longer just looking out for myself. I'm part of a greater cause. Just the beauty of the show. And, we'll move into, the big finale, like, Daughters of Ferrix and Rick's Road. I mean, I never thought we'd, obviously when, we saw the thing that Maarva was dead, and it was so odd. Like, I was of the belief she can't be dead. Like, you don't take Fiona Shaw and kill her off camera. And
it goes on what I said, right? Like, the series it plays with loss in the most mundane of, you lose people in a flash, and in this case you don't even see. It's almost exactly like Cassian. He has no idea how she's passed, only the fact that she is gone.
But the easy thing would have been to her to have like a deathbed scene or whatever, and a conversation with Brasso or, and him say, tell Cassian he was right. It's like, but that's the easy thing to do.
Yeah, that doesn't. Lazy. That would be lazy.
That doesn't serve the story of Cassian dealing with this loss, and what serves the story is it happen off screen and it just be brutal. And you've been given hints that it's coming, and then it comes, and it's like, well, where's our deathbed scene? And you're like, oh, we don't get it. And then next minute it pivots, and she does her own eulogy sort of thing. So, it's very good, for want of a better word.
Callan,
go on.
You're a big fan of the ISB, and this is sort of where the ISB starts to go into overdrive. I mean, what are your thoughts on what we saw out of the ISB and your expectations, and were they fulfilled on that, or?
I think there's an interesting piece in the Deedra, and then Syril piece. The creep has got his woman. So I'd be interested to see where that goes. But I think it showed how fragile, like, they thought they were just top shit and they knew what they were fucking doing. And they got, like, when he yells out, when that guy yells out, open fire or whatever he said. And, like, there was just the music, the chaos and the music was so on point and goosebump worthy through, like, all those scenes. You go back and watch them and it's just one after another, just perfect. There's no waste at all. And it was legit. I was like, this is actually, like, and obviously at the back of, you've got the big talk and the big, what was it? The hologram.
We'll get into that shortly.
Yeah. So then you just get, it's just everyone's just like, let's fucking go. And it was, it wasn't like, it was a legit things that happen in normal world, in wars and everything. It was something thrown over the top,
Yep.
Everyone's kicking the shit out of each other. There was nothing that was super, no force, no fucking lightsabers flying around.
That was just a good old-fashioned scrap.
Yeah, it was good.
It was insane. But let's talk about this speech, because Maarva's, everything was just brilliant. Like, we had the town just doing whatever the fuck they wanted to. Like, they were told it's got to be at this time. They started hours earlier. They were told it was 30 people. There was at least 500 people there.
I love that they started earlier. I'm like, surely they're not going to listen to these dicks, and then they didn't. Oh, that was sick.
And they instantly rattled.
Yeah.
Well, this country, this planet is on a knife's edge from the beginning. I mean, early on when the Primor guys were there, they were banging on the metal pieces for intimidation and also early warning system. There's a line in episode 1, and I'm probably going to stop. It was the last time I referenced this, but when he's like, "Oh, we need to investigate Ferrix." One of the chick that's sitting next to the guy who eats the blue noodles, she goes, "Are you sure? They have a different way of life out there. It's not the same." And it's those little comments, like, I just, straight over my head the first time. I was like, "Ooh, blue noodles."
Yeah, right.
And, part of the world building, but, this Ferrix place has, tradition. And in Maarva's speech as well, she said, "I'm honored to be a daughter of Ferrix, honored to be worthy of the stone. I remember being here when I was 6 years old. I heard our music, felt our history." And I'm not going to go through the whole speech. I mean, but there's that just one bit that is just when she goes, "There is a wound that won't heal at the center of the galaxy. There is a darkness reaching like rust into everything around us. We let it grow, and now it's here. It's here, and it's not visiting anymore. It wants to stay." And I've texted this to Frosty about 1,000 times in the last few days. The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep, and it's easy for the dead to tell you to fight. And maybe it's true. Maybe fighting is useless. Perhaps it's too late. But I'll tell you this. If I could do it again, I'd wake up early and be fighting these bastards from the start. Fight the Empire.
Did you see the panic on their face as well? Like, they're all going, fuck.
The imagery of Brasso and Salman's kid, the Middle Eastern bomb maker, which I thought was a little bit risky.
So good. Can you honestly say that a Disney-produced show would show a young person throwing a bomb at an occupying force and they're the good guys? Like, I was just like, oh, well done.
Did anyone know that he was building like a pipe bomb before it happened?
For sure.
Yeah, because Nee was sitting there with me and so what's he doing? And I said, he's 100% either building a suicide vest or like
his dad was watching him as well. That was pretty cool.
Well, that wasn't. He wasn't watching. That was a hologram of his dad was murdered by the ISB.
Yeah, I know. But that was the whole premise. He's doing it for his dad.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. Like, I said I wouldn't do this, but in episode 1, like you see little snippets of the interaction between Salman and his son, and stuff. Just go back and watch it again.
What was that character that got shot, and then the picture of his eyes just on the screen? That was a sick shot.
Oh yeah.
So that was the guy from the store who could sort of like asked Cassian's phone call and told him he was dead.
Yep.
But also
like the post office.
The guy who would get him off world for a certain price. They had a little thing. Funnily enough, I need to watch episode 12 again. I need to hear Brasso's conversation. You know how he tells with Andor in the tunnels, Maarva's speech, because in episode 1, he's got this British, Cockney accent, and I thought he had a Latin accent in the last episode. My mind's playing tricks on me, but I need to listen to it again because it's a little bizarre.
I have to listen as well. I didn't see that.
We talked about like the dialogue and the acting and the story and stuff but the directing in that finale around that riot was really, really good. You like, for a chaotic scene, you knew where everything was. You knew what side you're like, where the people were. There was no stupid tricky shots or whatever like that, or slow-mo nonsense or anything like that. It felt very kinetic, felt very like, God, I hate this word, but it actually felt quite visceral. Like, when people, like, were falling on the ground and like, you said before, when you see the fear on their faces,
Deedra's face when she's petrified.
Yeah. When she's getting ripped into pieces.
But that comes back to like that power is afraid. Like, it as I said, it just ties back into it. It shows you, it tells you its themes, and then it shows them to you later on. So, when they start their funeral early, they break the rules. They don't know what to do. They're all they've got their mind on is they're in control. They're setting up a sting to catch Cassian, and they get completely blindsided, and they become afraid straight away.
That really ties in well with the conversation between Kino and Cassian. Like when he's trying to convince him to go on the break out, and he says something. They just fried 100 people. What does that tell you? And Kino goes, "That sounds like power." And Cassian says, "Power doesn't panic."
Yeah.
And that set the scene for let's do this now. They'll never be as weak as they are right now. It's now or never. And just, I love this had the possibility of being cringy when the stormtrooper went up to the tower and it just said, kicked him off and said, "You guys have got no fucking chance." Like it basically said the Empire's cooked here. And it was like, I love that. The stormtrooper just straight down dead. And it was
death by what would you call him? The bell tower dude.
The guy with the big fucking mallet.
Do you reckon? Aside
Is there a name for bell ringers?
Yeah, I've got no idea. Now.
Well, I think I heard on another podcast that he's got his character name is Neil Bell.
Yeah, right. That's a bit on the nose.
I know. So, but
what do you reckon the material of that thing?
Beskar.
It looks like it's Beskar. Yeah, it's got the same material.
It's made of Beskar.
Oh,
apparently.
Please no.
Yes, the bell tower he got a lot of FaceTime in that show. So, but the good thing was it's subtle stuff. It wasn't in your face cameo. Although except the Blue Milk got a good run. Actually, there was an episode where Milk was just focused everywhere during there was the Syril milk, and then Skeen's like, "Drink your milk, Andor," and it was just like, what's the deal with all the pushy milk going on in this episode? Actually, that was a pretty funny narrative. But
can we talk about Luthen's tractor beam antics and?
Oh yeah,
fuck, mate! How fucking cool was that? Why haven't? I think it's so cool that there has now been, it's almost like he's thought of everything. There's got to be a way to destroy your tractor beam, and why not just
spend that 80 million somewhere? It's all on his fucking ship.
I don't know.
The thing's it's a go-go gadget of fucking everything.
So what do you think Luthen did when he says, "Okay, I want to make some modifications to my ship"? I'm thinking Darth Maul lightsabers on the side, and then tractor beam nails in the back.
Well, my thing was, how far do those lasers extend? Like, is there going to be collateral damage just like light years away from when those lasers just eventually hit something down the other end?
They're pretty sweet. But I don't know. That was, now you look back, I've got to rewatch it. Like maybe a little bit of it is Star Wars. So you're like, fuck, we haven't seen that something super crazy sci-fi in this. It didn't feel out of place to me at the time. I was like, this guy's a fucking, he's got a bit of cash. He's got the gear. He's the one trying to fucking start this rebellion. There's still way more to come with him. I think it's like there'll be something that'll show why he has all this fucking shit, all these gadgets, and he's controlling. There'll be something there for sure.
What about his monologue?
That's why.
What about his monologue? That was when he was talking to the ISB spy.
Lonnie, the child molester mustache.
Do you reckon?
Hey, here's the guy that blew up Chernobyl. He was the operator that blew it up, so it wasn't his fault. Yeah.
So that comment, he made on, what does it cost him?
Everything.
Like that was so good. It was a classic stitch up of, oh, you think you have it hard sort of thing. And his relationship with Saw is very interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
Because I think Saw, as much of an extremist as he is, he really can't read Luthen. No. I don't think at all.
He wasn't overdone either. They didn't overdo him.
But I think Luthen is just this cold, he's, I don't know, he's just badass, man.
It was so weird. Like I remember, so the first time Luthen and Saw meet, they're both trying to pretend that the other one did Aldhani, and no one's giving it away. So, no, it wasn't me. It was you, wasn't it? It was you. You did it. No, pretty sure it was you. And then the second time he arrives, Tube says, "Oh, careful, he's in a mood today," and he's very paranoid, very schizo, and all of a sudden. And I think it was so funny when he's like, "Who is your guy?" I was like, "Oh, it's Tubes. Tubes is my guy." Fuck off.
That was great. That was some good. For fuck's sake!
No,
again, shit you don't expect. You don't expect. It was on the edge of your seat. Like, okay, you just couldn't. You said before, Frosty, you could not pick where this fucking thing went. They could have easily said that Andor got captured as his own name, like real fucking generic, all that shit. But that was just a really little piece that some random fucking dude. Yep, 6 years, cop it. All those little things.
But I liked how it was in that first instance that they met that Luthen, was basically asking or not begging, but saying, "I need your help, Saw, with X, Y, and Z, reinforcements and whatnot for this." Whatever, this job. And then the second time he comes back, he's like, "No, don't need you. Got it sorted." And Saw's like, "No, I want in."
No, Saw was like, "Oh, put me in. I've thought about it. I want in now." He's like, "No, it took too long, and it's a trap."
Compromised. I just think it would have been so easy for them to write that episode where, like, Saw's people go and help and save Anto Krieger and the guys, but they stuck with it. They stuck with it. Yep. No, that really is what you have to do sometimes. And the Imperials are having a office Friday afternoon piss up because they've murdered them all.
Playing beer pong and shit. They're fucking they're so happy.
The difference was the funerary brick. Like, let's be real, that's got to be the defining, like, pivotal point of that riot. Just smacking a few heads in with it.
He's
a
big brick. Son of a bitch, that dude as well. Is it Brasso? Is that his name?
Brasso.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
What do we think's going to happen with Matt? Can we talk about some back end stuff now?
Of course, mate.
Cut scene finale.
What do we think's happening with Binks? Do you reckon she'll make a recovery?
Bix,
sorry.
Binks.
Because
bring Jar Jar back.
I'll have to rewatch what it was, or Matt, you might know because it sounds like those cries that were played to her, obviously multiple times, have proper truly fucked her up. Like,
oh no! In the dialogue on the subtitles, it said on the ship that she was coming around. She'll be fine. She'll recover. She's pretty. We like her. My wife,
she's gonna die.
My wife was looking at me when because I was like, "Ooh, nice, spicy little tan." She's like looking at me. I'm not looking at her. I'm like, no, she's ugly. But yes, but
she's gonna die.
Yeah.
Why will she die?
I reckon she'll get her own spin-off.
No.
No, there'll be no spin-offs out of this. No spin-offs. She'll die. Brasso will probably die.
Everyone will die.
It's the Rogue One. Everyone dies.
We haven't touched on K2SO. I thought we were going to see it in this season, and we haven't.
You saw K2 droids.
We did see the security droids and far out, they were brutal. Like, they're terrifying. when they're in Imperial mode, man. Like they threw people around like rag dolls, mate. Like an army of
Alan
them.
Tudyk would never do that.
The Death Troopers looked fucking sick. They looked really well.
All right, this pissed me off. This is one thing that pissed me off. Why is one blaster shot take out a Death Trooper or a Purge
Perfect
Trooper?
shot, mate. Perfect shot. He did
Fuck
it. What
off.
do you mean?
No
he did a jump
way.
on the ground
right
shot.
to the face.
He did a jump on the ground shot.
Chest.
He jumped on the ground shot. Dude, that always wins, dude.
No way. It's the James Bond or the Indiana Jones jump to the
The
side.
two blasters parallel, something on the side. John Woo, like...
Mate, that armor does fuck all, remember?
Yeah, well, clearly, but...
Just clearly, it's for looks.
Armor has never done fuck all in Star Wars until the fucking Mandalorian, and now suddenly it's fucking does everything. Like,
That's because it's made of Beskar.
Yeah,
Like the bell.
It's a plot device to explain why guys that look through a letter T can actually fucking fight.
Am I playing, is my mind playing up on me, or was it the early edition of the episodes when we were seeing Ferrix and the Stormtroopers? Were they the first or second gen armors before they went to like full Stormtrooper? Like the in-between of the clone and Stormtrooper armor?
No, very early Stormtrooper, but then on the scene with Clem where he gets hung on Rick's Road, those are clone troopers.
Yeah, okay, I thought that was the case.
I didn't have a look at that.
I blame Captain Rex. It was his fault.
There was a Captain
Filoni killed Clem.
There was
What do we think?
Captain Rex looking dude. There was a Santa looking dude in this Rick's Road fight. And Steele actually, someone wrote it was nice of Santa to rock up to Rick's Road for the scrap, and Steele tweeted that it was Captain Rex. And then the vomit emoji.
You know, it would have been funny if he was swinging a brick in a stocking.
So
you get coal.
Did you see the final cutscene? After the credits, Frosty?
Did you?
I was actually already doing the dishes, and Karina was still sitting in front of the telly, and it came on, and I was just like, oh yeah, and I don't mind it. It's fine.
But it ties into the ultimate.
Everything goes around.
Everything goes around. He's building the device that eventually kills him.
Yeah.
So this, if you think about it, Cassian's pretty cursed. But
that Catherine.
She knows. She's hitched herself to the right wagon. She's done very well. She's on the Victory Lap tour now. She's doing podcasts. No, she's on some other podcast today. Like she's been
meeting
on about
with the president.
7. Albo's popping by next week, and then Biden saying hello
as an audience with Bobby I.
True that. I think we should just go through a few characters. I mean, I think the one we've missed is how was the Mon Mothma arc for you, or the Mon Mothma across the board, Cal?
Yeah, I thought she was the start. I think, like Frosty said, just changed, like grew, and sort of went the other way as you got late into the series and started really going. Now we've got to really start. It's fucking on now. There's no going back. Like it's fucking. We're in this deep. So
she was pretty naive, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I think at the start she thought she had her shit all not covered, and then she's like, "Oh, no one listening to her in the Senate." I think she sort of knew the way it was going.
Yeah, she got very street smart towards the end, but early on she's like, "Oh, I'm just moving money around. We're starting a rebellion. Oh, it's gonna be awesome." And then, Luthen all of a sudden takes on Aldhani, and it's like, "Wait a second, what's going on here?" He's like, well, "What do you think a rebellion is, love? Like, what do you think we're just gonna have a chat about things? Like, people are gonna die.
Can't just start another charity."
At some point, it turns, and you can look at that riot as a microscopic example of that. At some point, it turns, and then it's not. Yeah.
Did you guys pick up on Mothma blaming the funds, abnormalities on the gambling? Like that was a very good, subtle, I'm going to throw you under the bus to get my cause if
Dylan,
I have to.
I think it's very, very funny that you think you were the only person to pick up on that. But
No, I didn't think it was just me. I know Mia didn't pick up on it. I had to bring it up, but
she probably texting.
Yeah, it was good.
It's nice to see a woman gaslight a man for a change.
But no, it was very smart of her. I feel like, towards the end, she's sort of like, okay, I'm working out much. But she still goes ahead with the thug introduction.
Yeah, that was a bit bizarre.
Well,
I mean, her daughter seems into it. And, she's already said that her husband is not into it either. So it's not something he likes. I really like that character of her husband because you're supposed to dislike him, but he's also not. He's not the bad guy here.
No.
He's a pretty bad guy.
He's a rich, shallow person.
Yeah.
He's also hanging out with people that are killing people through taxation of trade routes, which is, obviously leads into,
Yeah, but it's important to show that.
Yeah.
Like, he's just in a comfortable position and it's not him. Like, if you asked him, should these people be killed? He'd be like, no. But that's just a life of comfort and convenience that he has.
And I'll have another martini. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Exactly.
Put another worm in my Trandrillan cocktail.
Weren't they called squigglies or something? I thought that was pretty cool.
None for me. I'm driving.
Yeah.
No.
But that's it doesn't work if he's made out to be an absolute arsehole, which they've been very careful not to do. Like you can see that, like they're in a loveless marriage and all that sort of stuff. But he's no terrible person. So that makes it more interesting when Mon Mothma throws him under the bus and gaslights him into thinking he's doing the wrong thing. And that makes it even like the easy thing to do is to make him a really despicable character. But that's stupid because then it undermines Mon Mothma. Like, why is she doing with this arsehole? Like, he's just shallow. Like, he's just an idiot. Like, he's not. So, but she's got to burn him and she's got to burn her own daughter against his will. Like, they could have made it so easy, like, so palatable. Like, he could have been all into the arranged marriage or whatever, and she's just submitting to him. But they've made it more grey to make it more interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting where they go in season 2 with that whole relationship.
Did you guys think that the driver was a shock? Like, I did not see that coming whatsoever.
No.
What?
Mate, that caught me off guard.
Luthen was onto that immediately. She's like, oh, you got a new driver. And she's like, yeah, they have a new spy in the Senate every day.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't pick up on that, man. That was like...
it was one line that made you say that Mon Mothma knew. Yeah.
And that's why she knows he's listening. She goes, ask for privacy. And then she's like, oh, okay, we know he's listening. Chuck him under the bus. Because she figured it out. She's smart.
Right, okay.
And that's why, at the beginning, Clea has to distract him with the coins. They were all over that. Like,
right. Fuck, I missed that then. Jeez.
Yeah, it was one line, but it
changed the whole.
Made you think that Mon Mothma knew very much that he was most likely a plant. So
yeah. He knew. He thought he was fucking carving it as well. He's like, oh, I've got some goss.
yeah.
All right, fellas, we've hit the hour mark. It's been good. Let's give us a rating out of 10, Callan. I know you have to bounce pretty soon. How was overall? How did it sit for you? And give it a score out of 10.
I'm at a 9.5 it, and I really, really loved it. I thought it was a really, like, from end to end, it was really solid. There was fuck all Phil. There was no. It all leads into my favorite Star Wars one of Rogue One. So I really loved it. I'll leave the 0.5 for season 2, and
smart.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Should we go into Turbo's rating? I think you got that, Matty.
You read out Turbo's rating.
All right. So Turbo, let me just quickly gaslight him. He said he didn't have an expectation, but he anticipated that this was going to be good. He said it was Andor season 1 is 10 out of 10, and he particularly likes the bit where Mothma loosened her collar.
Oh yeah, he's very big on the He's very big on the neck of Mon Mothma. Him and Struthers, they're a little bit on the creepy side when it comes to that.
Oh, actual neck, like as in neckline.
Yes.
I thought, fucking hell.
just whole neck. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was, her attitude. Okay, righto. No cameos. He loved that there was no unnecessary cameos as well.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. He just likes neck. I'll go. I think I'll go with Cal. I'll give it a 9.5. I think there's still more for this series to give, but it was phenomenal end to end, and I'll definitely be rewatching it.
Yeah, you know me. I never rewatch. Yeah. I'm going to rewatch.
I'm keen to hear this, Frosty.
Phroosh?
A. Give it an A.
Oh.
Give it an A.
8 or an A? What?
An A.
Hey, that's solid.
And out of 10, what's that? What is that? What's the frost conversion?
That's got to go to 9. Yeah,
9.
We'll take that. I'll take a Frosty 9 any fucking day of the week.
Frosty 9 is a Filoni 12.
I thought I'd probably like this because I liked Rogue One a lot too. Yep. That's probably looking back at now, even though I like Last Jedi a fair bit as well, and I like Solo a fair bit as well. Rogue One's my favourite movie out of the new ones. But yeah, everything I'd complained about with the other television series had been addressed here. Tastes vary, but if everything that you complained about's been fixed, yeah. But just having Stellan Skarsgård and Genevieve O'Reilly and
so good,
Fiona Shaw,
yeah. I tell you what, like that when I last came on, I'd seen that one episode and that one brief monologue by Syril's boss about what it was like.
It was an accident.
Yeah, yep. That quality, that set up the entire series of being subtle, clever, well delivered. Great stuff, yeah. A or 9, whatever you want to call it.
I'm putting this up on the board of the Phroosh verified 28th of March 2022.
It's a high watermark.
it's like an
very high tide.
$8 blue tick. It's now Phroosh approved.
Gold star.
Matty, what are you at yours?
Yeah, I'm going to go 9.5 as well. I thought it was, sensational from start to finish. Like, you see those memes like of Game of Thrones, and it's like the horse, and it's like the majestic horse at the start, and then sort of like turns into the cartoon drawing of shit at the end. And but this was just like they just did 0 to 12, just perfect drawing, and we weren't talking about filler or cameos or fan service. Like everything was, there was Star Wars stuff throughout the whole thing, but
still felt Star Warsy to me the whole way.
But also, it didn't feel Star Warsy as well. I think that's where it's going to get a lot of people a buy-in from just regular Joe Disney Plus.
Do we think, last little tidbit, do we think this is going to set a new formula for Star Wars moving forward in Disney?
No, I don't think so. I think it's got its, that's the thing. The Mandalorian, it's got its cachet. It's got, it's got its bounty hunter. It's got Baby Yoda.
They got to sell figures, man. They got to sell fucking posters, figures.
Yeah. I also think the Mandalorian is moving into a more serious dialogue now, like Mandalorian politics, and she's here. I had a feeling she might come. I sent out an invite after she tweeted, "I want to speak to Phroosh," and the First Lady of Ferrix has arrived. Catherine Kneen, how are you, buddy?
Well, the Andor signal was ignited, so I have to respond.
Oh, we're not talking about Andor. We're talking about The Rings of Power. You're on the wrong podcast. Well, give us your Andor out of 10, Catherine. Although I don't think we'll need it to guess.
50 million.
Yeah.
$50 million.
Wow, is that like Froosh to the power of like 20?
How's the last 10 weeks been for you, Catherine? It's I've had the pleasure of doing a few podcasts with you and Josh, but I've been telling everyone, you're living in 2022 and we're all in 1977. You've hitched your wagon to the best thing in a long time.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky. Yeah, it's been amazing, like, to have the show that I've been looking forward to for so long.
Matt can't fucking help himself. Yeah.
I'm going to do the Brasso shot every photo I can from now on.
Being so good, like, that's just what you want, isn't it? Like, but yeah, last 10 weeks of just Andor, that's all my brain is wanting to think about. So I don't know what I'm going to be doing with myself on Wednesday. Watching Willow, but it's not quite the same.
No,
have you rewatched it already? How many times?
Like each week I'd watch the episode about 3 times. Haven't gone back to do the whole season yet because, that silly thing called work. It interferes with my Andor watching. How dare it? But that's definitely on the plans. That's what I'll be doing very soon.
Did you hear Frosty's score?
No.
So just before you came, this might be the highest verified Star Wars review ever from Frosty. What did you give the Book of Boba Fett out of 10, Frosty?
That'd be a 6, I reckon.
And the Kenobi?
7, maybe.
Just.
Tales of the Jedi?
I've watched 2 episodes.
Same. That's all I've watched.
And it is fucking boring. So, yeah.
And so
Give that
just repeat the Andor score then.
9A. So
A
9A.
No, 9 out of 10 and an A. He's
yeah, I gave it an A, but then I had to give it an out of 10. So
We're all running the digits. So the 9, we all did 9.5 and 9. That's huge.
Yeah. Did it lose mark because of the sunset?
No, I don't. I don't give many things a 10. I honestly, I can't think of too many things I didn't think were very good. That was, yeah. Oh, if I had to pick one thing, sometimes I think the Vel Cinta stuff doesn't quite connect, but it's pretty close.
Oh, can we just go to Vel quickly? Did she get really needy towards the end? Like,
oh yeah,
she was so needy. Like, all she was like, give us a bit of love, and Cinder's like, nah, the mission takes priority.
I feel like there's a cut that those two might have had some scenes cut.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, and that's it. Like, because I got no issue with the idea of what they're trying to do there, but it just seems a tiny bit underdone compared to some of the other things. That's all. But yeah, like we get what they're going for, but doesn't quite pay off like some of the other things did.
Might pay off in season 2.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And we all know,
but I do like the idea that she centered this cold-blooded murder.
Oh, I loved that.
I think she definitely did it now. Like, Catherine, where do you sit on that? I know you are on Halls having a chat with that about that.
Yeah, look, I've no doubt she's murdered the Imperials there. I don't want to think that she murdered that kid. But
anything for the cause.
She put 2 in the back of his head.
She took him around the back and just, see you later, mate.
You think that, Vel would think that's a step too far. That might be a breaking point for Vel and Cinta. Because Vel, is willing to kill, but I think, as she says during the heist, she doesn't want to do what the Empire would do. Whereas Cinta, I don't think that she has that line anymore. But God, yeah, the Hall's theory is looking a bit more
prominent.
I don't know what the word is.
Palatable.
Yeah. Oh, not palatable, but possible.
Palpable.
Well, I think the Vel Cinta thing is supposed to mirror like Luthen and Mon Mothma, because Vel comes from Mon Mothma's world, like they're cousins and stuff like that. And they've made like a pact with each other to try and improve the world or whatever. Whereas Luthen and Cinta come from like the other side of things, Cinta comes from a place of like actual loss and trauma and stuff like that. So, yeah, the interplay between what you're willing to do, like Catherine, we were talking about this earlier, are you willing to make things worse to make things better? And that's a hard decision. And so Mon Mothma's grappling with that, Vel's grappling with that, Cinta and Luthen are grappling with that. Everyone's grappling with that. So, yeah. I think it's supposed to sort of mirror those two things, but it doesn't quite. Feels like they just missed a couple of scenes or something.
Yeah, because that's definitely part of the theme of season 1. It could be, going forward, what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do? Because you think we get introduced in Rogue One to Cassian with him shooting Tifik in the back and him instantly having guilt about it and hating that he's done it. And one of the reasons why he goes to Scarif is that he's done all this, shady things, all these things he's not proud of. And that's a redemption for him. It's going to be worth it. All the things he's done, it's worth it, giving it all in one shot. So it's this, I think that's the theme of Andor. What are you willing to sacrifice? What of yourself, what of your morals are you willing to sacrifice? And all leading to, that alleyway on the Ring of Catherine.
And you think when we last spoke, Kath, and it was very obvious, but we were saying, Andor's going to do some pretty horrible things to get to what, to push the agenda, and boy, has he done some things that he may regret. All for the sake of,
Well, how many
rebellion.
people has he killed that we know of now, Catherine? Skeen. He killed the 2 Primors.
Yep. He killed a few guards in the prison.
Narkina 5.
Narkina 5. Like 4 or 5 guards. We're not really sure how many he killed. But tellingly, when he got to like the control tower, he didn't then kill all of them in there. He let them live.
I know, he
Once
sort of
they were
gave him that little, oh, well, you're outnumbered, you're not going to do anything. Although they could have turned on all the security.
Yeah. Well, no, they couldn't have, because once they turned off the water, they were saying it's going to take months for it to boot back up.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So, he's killed people. And now that he's joining the rebellion, or joining Luthen's cell anyway, what is Luthen going to ask him to do?
Mm.
Like, let's face it, like he was willing to have them just flat out murder Cassian. Vel, you could see Vel wasn't comfortable with that from the start when it was told to her that that was going to happen. And then on Ferrix, she wasn't happy with them killing Cassian because I think she knew he's not saying anything. He may not have joined the rebellion, but that doesn't mean he's going to tell on them. But yeah, what's Luthen going to get him to do? And then what's going to lead Cassian to be part of the rebellion that's under Mon Mothma, you know, or is he going to be, Fulcrum as in current canon where he's connecting all the cells, that communicator that Luthen almost is now.
I saw a good tweet today, and they said, in my head canon, Ezra's speech to the rebels in the tower in season 2 is that going on at the same time as Maarva's speech, and I love that. I love that you know all the rebel cells around the galaxy are, you know, like Nemec saying, you know, we just fight oppression. We're one step closer, and you know, I'm actually so excited for the next what we're going to see, because this rebellion is exciting to see formed.
Doesn't Ezra's speech take place like a long time before, like Mon Mothma's speech? Sorry, I'm really tired, but I'm trying to think through the timeline.
I can. So Mon Mothma's speech is in season 3 of Rebels, which is like 2 years before Rogue One. So that'll very much. I actually think we might get Mon Mothma's speech in live action in Andor.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to watch Rebels again, Frosty. Go back.
There is no way. There's absolutely no way that Tony Gilroy is doing a crossover with the fucking Rebels. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
He doesn't give a fuck about Star Wars,
like,
mate.
he would look at Dave Filoni and go, "Who's this fucking guy in a hat?" Like,
the only thing is that they've already referenced the Gormans in season 1 of Andor, and in an interview Tony Gilroy did when he was basically questioned on, you know, nerd facts. He had the receipts. He knew about the, you know, all of the Mon Mothma Gorman massacre stuff. You know, like, so I agree. I don't know, he wouldn't care about the Filoniverse. He would do nothing to link Andor into the Filoniverse. So he wouldn't do that. But I think he's done, well, he's had Pablo, you know, bring him the cliff notes of, you know, the backstories or the established canon. So he knows enough about stuff like, the Gorman massacre, Annex being breadcrumbed in there, but he wouldn't make a crossover, you know, front and center. If there's any kind of reference, expect it to be in the background, and that's something that like Pablo or a set designer or something has just put in there.
Yeah, it'll be like, name this planet or this battle or whatever, and Pablo will go, here's 3 you can choose from, which one sounds best.
Yeah.
Did you?
Or, you know, like if they're talking about various cells or actions of rebels, you know, like Lothal might get a mention. You know, Pablo just going, this stuff's going on here at the time.
Did you see
Good old Pablo.
Did you see Pablo's tweets today, Kath? How he was in a bar and there were 2 people next to him discussing Andor, and it was very positive, so he didn't have to put his AirPods in.
Yeah. He was like, no one know me. No one know me. No one know me.
Well, no, it's been such a good ride. I mean, what do you think? What do you want to see mostly in season 2, Kath? Besides more topless Andor.
Yes. Also want to see a season 3, a season 4, a season 5. I know I'm greedy.
It's funnily enough, I don't think it was Tony Gilroy that was the one who said he didn't want to do the 5 seasons. It was Diego, because a lot of the filming takes place away from his family, and he said 5 years is just too long. And he was the defining reason they couldn't do it over 5. Couldn't commit him to 5.
I think it's a good choice to not do 5. I think they're better off keeping it tight, keeping it well. Like, if they can be as cohesive with their themes and writing as they were this season, I'd rather it just be 2.
Agreed.
It's just that it was so well. I found it really well paced. I really liked, we could deep dive into every character and understand all the motivations. Nothing was rushed. I'm really worried's not the right word, but
hesitant.
To have this season 2, like, there are events, what gets Mon Mothma to finally leave Coruscant and the Senate, what actions has Cassian done, and we're going to see Saw break from the rebellion. We'll have Bail Organa show up. We'll possibly get more hints of the Death Star, and I'm worried that things will get rushed. And I don't want this to sound like a negative, but it might feel a bit more Filoni-verse than ooh, cameo, ooh, this thing, rather than that deliberate building that we've had in season 1. Because we've got an end point. We know the end point is Cassian flying to the Ring of Catherine or getting off that shuttle at the Ring of Catherine. Tony Gilroy's already said that. That's the end point.
Yeah, we touched on that a bit earlier around the pacing and how good this was, that Matt was mentioning, if we're going to get these next few years in a season, it could feel very rushed. But in saying that, there's nothing stopping them from pushing the episodes longer, or, is it confirmed? I haven't looked into it, that the next season's going to be 12 episodes, or will they maybe?
Yeah, it's 12 episodes. So
right, okay.
I know. I've got faith. Like, they do 3-episode arcs really well. They'll just pick pivotal arcs per year's story. I mean, it doesn't have to be 12 months of stuff. It's just going to be stuff that happened in that year and pivotal moments. So, if
you look at it as at a minimum of 4 90 to 100-minute movies, that's a lot of content.
But Phroosh, I think Mon Mothma is one of the main characters that could definitely get her own show or story posting. Like, she's got so much world to build on between now and Return of the Jedi. She defects from the Senate. She gives up her senatorship in that Rebel speech, and that speech was very Maarva-like as well in Rebels. It was big. It was a big moment, although cartoon and Filoni worse. But that's a big moment, and I'll be interested to see how her family. I feel like she'll be disowned from her family once she commits to the rebellion, because it's not going to be up Perrin's boat being a rebel and living off the land. She
needs to go into hiding, right? So
yeah,
exactly. So
that just might not be this series' story to tell. It's already been partially told in Rebels. I just think that I don't want these really good characters and this really good writing to start getting flogged like Grogu, like a hamster in a wheel. Like, well, you got like Diego Luna's an exceptional actor. Got him for 2 seasons. It is a lot of television. You got a goddamn Skarsgård in there. Got Genevieve O'Reilly. Just do it right. Do another season. Get it right, and move on. There are other stories to tell. So
yeah. But I also want to drop in on the Ferrix people like Brasso and B2 Emo, like, to see how they're going. And
They're going to die.
Catherine, you did tweet that you wanted to chat to Phroosh, but this is Phroosh at his finest.
Cassian is a guy who's got nothing left at when we meet him. Like so that's the arc of the guy. Like, you know, we can't have all these friends of his like setting up their own Scooby-Doo van on a moon to do other rebel missions. Like just kill him off in a way that serves the story, and let's go. Let's make it good.
Look at B2 Emo. Look him in the face.
Oh, I don't think you have a problem doing that, Kath. Go on.
He looks like a vacuum.
He looks like a glorified Hoover.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I early on was like, yeah, B2 Emo is probably going to die, and then use his programming for K2SO because, yeah, we've got to meet K2SO. God, I don't want it to happen, though, because I want to give B2 Emo a hug and Brasso a hug. He needs a hug.
Yeah, big time.
I absolutely get it. Like that's the whole point. Like you get attached to these characters and you like them, like I do too. But if you're going to commit to making a really adult story with these really cohesive themes, for fuck's sake, follow through on it. Don't give me endless spin-offs based on all these characters to spin off into endless crap that just decreases the impact of things. Make it count.
Yep.
Do another season. Make it count.
Well said.
No, well, it's going to be a long wait, and Catherine's already started the countdown. And Catherine, thank you for joining us. When you tweeted in, I was like, oh, let's just chuck it out there. I actually wanted to just mention it beforehand, but then she's like, I really want to speak to Phroosh. So I was like, well, but then you didn't confirm if you were coming. But then the ding came, the Rebel Alliance symbol went up in the air, and she arrived. So, no, thank you for coming, Catherine. Phroosh, always a pleasure to speak with you, buddy, with your candid discussion and this newfound positivity to Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy must be doing an amazing job in your eyes.
Hopefully the next season sucks so I can get back to my normal personality. What do we got next? What can I pan next?
Well, you have the Bad Batch is coming.
Bad Batch.
Oh, I don't even bother watching that, so there's no point.
And then Mando?
He'll watch that.
I'll watch that.
You'll watch that just for the content. Just for the conversation starters.
Just for the laughs.
Well, everyone, it's getting late. Catherine, you already mentioned you're exhausted. We've been going for about an hour 40. This is 40 minutes than Josh likes to record ever, but it's been great. I have loved it as much as I have loved watching Andor, and so happy to have you here, Catherine, for our finale discussion and season in review, and I look forward to chatting with you all soon. May the Force be with you, which wasn't mentioned in this show for some reason.
And may the Rebel Alliance power on.
There is a wound at the center of the galaxy that won't heal, and that's me. Thanks, guys. See you guys soon.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.